Yeah, this morning I'll be looking shortly at a topic I call Guide Your Heart. The book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. You see, the matter of the heart is a serious matter. I'm reading from New King James. He calls it the heart, but the contemporary description is the mind. So I'll use the word mind instead of heart. Because when I say the heart, they won't be thinking about the left part of your chest, where your heart is. When I say the heart, be thinking about the left side of your chest where your heart is. But when I say the mind, then you know that I'm talking about a particular portion of your brain where decisions are made. So we are talking about the power of the mind. Jesus said in the book of Matthew chapter 7 verse 1, he said, judge not that you not be judged. That statement talks more about how we make use of our mind. The reason being that to every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. That is, there is no action without a premeditated thought. Before somebody does a thing, as the case may be, he must have taken time to premeditate it before the action takes place, except for reflex actions, which are natural tendencies. But for normal actions, usual actions, they are usually as a result of premeditation. So Jesus taught us not to judge, because most times when we judge people, we judge them based on their actions, but not on the motive that preceded the action. So when you judge people based on action, Jesus condemned that judgment. That's why he said, on no account should you judge. The reason being that you don't know the motive behind the action. You see, generally speaking, no action is wrong, as the case may be. No action is wrong in itself. What makes an action wrong is premeditation. And you see, your mind is louder in heaven, or your thought is louder in heaven than your actions. So God sees you in the light of your mind or your thoughts than your action. That's why the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 3 says, you should not speak arrogantly of yourself, and don't let arrogant word proceed out of your mind, for God is God of all knowledge, and by him all actions are weighed. So God weighs actions in the light of motive. What am I saying? What I'm saying is, to every action there's a premeditation, there's a thought. That's why Jesus said, it's been said that you should not commit fornication. But if there's a man among you that look at a woman lustfully, in his mind he has committed that fornication. So Jesus did not see you as a person that have to go into a room, undress and sleep with the woman. So even merely standing and looking at her lustfully and using your mind to undress her alone, you have committed that sin. That is how it is. But a person that sees you may not have seen what you have done, because all these things happen in your mind. But in the light of the mind, judgment before God is made. So when you judge people, like I was telling somebody, I said, okay, they say killing is a sin. Good. You can go to jail if you kill. They call it murder. But there are cases they also call it manslaughter, because if it's not intentional. Then what if it's a self-defense? Somebody comes to overpower you in your house and get you killed, and luckily you are able to overpower that person and get him down, and probably there's a CCTV in the house that recorded everything that happened. Will you feel guilty? You won't. But the truth is that the action is that somebody is dead, and it's through you trying to defend yourself. So that killing cannot be called a sin to you. So killing itself is not a sin. Like I was listening to somebody too that was talking that when back in the days when we were small, they tell those guests, don't let me see with a boy, I must not see with a boy, face your books. If a boy touches you, it's a sin. It's a sin. The same girl will grow up to 27, 28. By the time she's 30, the same parent that say they don't want to see with a boy will now say, want to bring somebody home? So you see that the action itself is not the real problem, but the timing when that action is going to take place is an issue, because the motive of a teenager following a boy is different from the motive of a girl or a lady of 27, 28 following a boy. So they are two different things. So by the time the lady gets to like 30, gets to 32, and the parents are still not seeing anybody with him, it's time to go to the mountain. it's time to involve apostle or prophet about it. So action is what we all see and judge people. Why can they do like that? Many of us are apt to judge people, even when pastors are brought into some light on social media. You are apt to say, how can a man of God do like that? How can a prophet do like that? How can a Jew do like that? No, you don't know the motive behind the action. In fact, if the person tells you whatever it is that made him to do whatever he did, or she that made her to do whatever she did, you are not in any capacity to judge, so that you not be judged. Just keep mute. But what is most important to you as a person that want to meet your God at the end and want to reign in his kingdom is your mind. Because God sees you, all our actions are marked in our mind. Whatever you do is as a result of what lies in your mind. So keep and guide your mind with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. If somebody is going to control his life, control your thoughts. The reason being that many of us have been in this struggle consistently in our lives, trying to have a hold of our mind. Many a time, many of us are slaves to our mind. You will say resolution 2021, I won't do this again. But before you know, you are back to it. 2022, I won't do that thing again. Before you know, you are back to it. Then you'll be wondering, am I really in control of my mind, or my mind is in control of me? Most of the times, many of us are slaves to our mind. Until you are able to pray and God helps you to have a grip to train your mind, until then you become a successful man. So success of the life of a man begins from his mind, not from the action, because actions are not really the sin, but the thought that preceded the action. Before an action is taken, there is a thought in you. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do that thing. And that's why you see Jesus Christ most time, they say, and Jesus perceived the thought in their mind. That means God has the power to read and knows what happens in the mind of a man. So mind what you allow in your mind. And at every instance, make sure you are checking your mind to know whether the thoughts that are there are pure. You may deceive people by your action, but your thoughts is you before God. God bless you, and I see you another time. Shalom.